Hello and welcome to Season 7, Episode 9 of the EUphoria podcast. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. As a heads up before we head into this episode is mostly going to be about looking back on the split, looking back on everything that has happened. Next week will be our playoffs primer, where we talk about all of the matchups in great detail. But this week will be more about looking back at the regular season, talking about regular season awards, and a few other topics. We're gonna look at Schalke today. Actually, interestingly, I went to the Schalke house a few weeks ago. We're gonna take a look at that piece. But most importantly, dear audience, we have a bet to resolve. To resolve this bet, it's Caedrel as always. Ender's here as well. Welcome to both of you, gentlemen.
I think you can tell by the tone of voice who's excited about this bet and who isn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just sick. Why would you do this?
You sound agreed to this. All right. All I'll say is we'll just jump into it. We'll jump into the bet segment proper. I'll explain the bet. I'll explain what happened with the standings, and we can get into it. I'm gonna need to magically swap positions here though to be in optimal bet production territory. So I'm gonna clap my hands and we're gonna pretend like this is magic, even though it's definitely not.
Oh.
All right. I'm gonna give you the lowdown before we get into this bet, so these guys aren't suffering any longer than they have to. This is the fish sauce bet. I won the playoff predictions race. You guys can check the graphic. We'll post it behind me here. With 4 points, Ender in second place at third, Caedrel in last place with only one correct prediction. And in this game,
one head.
In this game, here's how it's going to work. It is a multiple choice questions. I'm going to ask one person at a time. If they get it right on their first try, they get a point across the aisle to one of 5 cups and choose which one their opponent gets to drink from. Now, in 4 out of 5 cups, there's iced tea. Peach iced tea, pretty mild, not too bad. In the other one, there is a mixture of fish sauce, water, and sugar. For context, it was originally pure fish sauce, but that was so nasty that my producer vetoed it, so it is now fish sauce light, fish sauce on the rocks, so to say. And if you get a question wrong, you drink from a cup of your choosing, and then the other person gets a chance to to guess the question from the 3 remaining options. Every question will have 4 options. If they get it wrong, they have to drink again. We go back and forth until someone gets it right. Now, warning, if you are in podcast land or in general do not like to see people suffer, there are going to be a lot of anxiety sounds into the mics. There might be like weird throat sounds. So if you are not keen to experience this level of human suffering, which I totally understand, so you can skip ahead. It's probably going to take 10, maybe 15 minutes. Our next segment, we'll be talking about the teams that have fallen away. So just
if you're not on YouTube, you can't see that I'm holding up a puke bucket right now.
It's a bin.
I'll leave that down there.
Yeah, thank you. So first question, which player had the highest CS at 15 in a single game this split? All these questions are going to be about LEC Spring 2021 unless otherwise listed. Was it, again, highest CS at 15 in a single game?
Is it difference or just highest CS?
Highest raw CS number.
Okay.
Was it A, Checolad, B, Hear It, C, Reckless, or D, Hansama?
No. Oh no. Highest CS at 15. Let's think here. So top laners, probably it's not a top laner. It can't be Hear It. So Checolad could be Azir Syndra. Mid laners do tend to get more farm because they get blue buffs.
But Excel's early game was also always tragic.
True.
I feel so much tension in my chest. God. I'm just watching.
Dude,
There's no stakes for me and I'm so anxiety.
See, I always flip it. I flipped with my predictions. I think I would flip it if I went for Checolad. So maybe I should just go with Reckless. My boy Reckless. I mean, he has so many good... Yeah, Reckless. I'm going to say Reckless.
You're going to say Reckless?
There's no way it's Reckless.
The answer is Checolad with 180 CS.
Wait, I didn't have
why
the
did you say the answer?
Woo!
Oh, no.
Let's go.
Hey, remake.
Nope. You got it wrong.
All right, I'm going to make up a bonus question for you with 3 answers.
That's some bullshit.
Oh, no. I'm such a bad quiz master.
So what do we do now? Drakos has to drink?
Oh,
no.
true.
No.
No. I don't know.
All right.
What do we do?
You're going to drink.
But then he has to automatically get a question wrong?
You get a...
Wait, no, I can't get it right.
You're going to drink.
Yeah.
And then through the graciousness of my mistake, at some point, because this bailed Ender out, you will get bailed out in the future.
Okay, cool.
Interesting.
Okay, so...
That to right my wrong.
But
Okay.
what if I was going to get it right?
Then you wouldn't have had to drink, but that's the best possible
Yeah, but I was
option.
going to get it right.
Well,
I mean, he narrowed it down to 2. All I had to do was pick the one that was
So
not
now when you
wrong.
okay, it's fine. We're gonna bail him out one time. I've completely ruined this. If you're at home, I'm a horrible quiz master. I will
Actually, no,
remember
that's
now.
fine. That's fine if you get bailed. I have no issue with that. Why? This is not a competition.
Caedrel?
We're both trying to win.
Okay. We're gonna try to get through this, just so
Okay,
people don't
so
have to
now I have
watch
to choose a
30
cup.
minutes of us
Okay,
being
I have to choose a cup.
anxious.
I have to choose a cup.
Yes, please do.
I don't know which one to choose, man.
Do that one.
Just
That
pick.
one's safe, dude. I promise. Yeah,
You
right
promise?
there. It's safe. It's safe. I swear.
You promise?
I swear to God, it's
promise
safe.
it's safe?
I swear to God, it's safe.
Drink.
You're good.
Oh my god.
Phil, if you could please come in and remove the cup for young Caedrel.
It was iced tea.
Okay. See, I knew it, dude. I knew it. I had your back.
Oh my god.
See, I just bailed him out.
Question. All right. Question number 2. I won't mess up this time. We'll see if you guys mess up this time. Whew. Number 2 for Ender. Which team had the worst gold differential at 10 minutes on average? Is it A, Vitality with negative 871 gold? Is it B, Excel with negative 1,081 gold? C, Astralis with negative 737 gold? Or D, SK Gaming with negative 543
See,
gold?
Astralis.
Yes.
Down the line.
How did you know?
Because it's not Excel.
Which one did you choose?
He said down the line. The next one
down
on
the line. Yeah,
The middle
yeah.
one?
No.
This
Right
one?
there. Yeah,
Right
yeah.
there.
We're just going straight down.
Oh no, it's so gross.
That's
Take your water. You want to next? You
I'm
just
so
rinse
sorry,
your mouth out,
Caedrel.
spit in the bucket.
It was either you or me. It was either you or me, man.
Wow, that was pure confidence. Okay, wait, Phil. Caedrel, can you just close your eyes for a second? Phil, can you take that fish sauce cop out, put a new one in, and then mix them up?
I don't even want this next to me. It smells so bad.
Close your eyes, Caedrel. Close your eyes.
Why me?
Oh my God, it's fun when you're not losing, right? It's fun when you're not.
No, I'm not having.
Okay.
Did Daniel see where it went?
Ender might have seen.
No,
where
I
it-
did not. I
No,
was
Ender
not
wasn't paying
paying
attention.
attention.
Okay.
Oh, there's still only 4
Question.
left.
Hold on.
Wait,
we're
surely there should be 5. That's so mean.
Nope.
Oh my god, man.
Here we go. All right, question number 3 for Caedrel. Which one of these champions was banned but never picked in the LEC 2021 spring? Is it A, Nunu, B, Fiddlesticks, C, Twitch, or D, Jax?
I'm gonna say Twitch.
That would be incorrect.
I'm so sorry.
Caedrel, if you could please pick a cup and drink from a
Didn't
cup.
Crown Shop play Twitch? What were the other options, just so I can think about it while he
So
suffers?
Twitch has been removed as incorrect. The remaining options are Nunu, Fiddlesticks, and Jax.
Do I drink now?
Yeah,
I think you drink now. If you think about your answer, so you're ready to go.
Okay, it's good.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Jesus. Okay, I think... there was a fiddle played, I'm pretty sure. Nunu.
Nunu is incorrect.
So what happens
Was it
now?
Fiddlesticks? It was Fiddlesticks, right?
I can't tell you. Caedrel gets one last chance to guess.
Wait,
he has to guess
You
again?
have to go until you're right.
Wait, okay, so what's left? Fiddlesticks
Fiddlesticks
and Jax?
Jax.
Christ.
So what was the question? It was banned but
champion
never
was
played.
banned but never picked.
Oh,
It
what?
was-
I
it-
misunderstood the
Ah, but
question.
Jax was picked. Jax was picked. It's Fiddlesticks.
Oh my God.
Yes, it is Fiddlesticks. Ender, drink the cup.
Oh, we're good. Okay, that was pretty good.
Take it. Phil, if you-
Surprise, it's fish sauce.
whose question was
Wash
that?
it
That was
down.
Caedrel's question.
This is my question. It's Ender's time now.
Okay, Ender. Which player? We might only get to. We might just get to like 6 or 7. We might cut early because this is brutal. Which
God.
player had the highest forward percentage? This is time spent past the halfway point in lane for people who don't know that stat. Was it A, Larson, B, Broken Blade, C, Whippo, or D, Hear It?
Be Broken Blade.
You got it right, didn't he?
You got it right.
Thanks, man.
Did you go into this? Did you go into the stats before this? Perfect. Oh my.
I remember the Broken Blade stat, though.
1 in 3.
Because what you don't remember is that I was also looking for questions because I thought I was going to win. So there's some that I just remember from like, not even just remembering the question, just remembering weird stats that I was intentionally looking for.
I'm so sorry, bro.
I'm getting
Absolutely. You
Easy
get a pick. You
clap.
get a pick, by the way. Remember.
Oh, shit. Yeah, just right there. The one that's isolated by itself. It needs a friend.
It's a 1 in 3.
It needs a friend, dude.
Care anymore.
It's iced tea. I got you. You're chilling. See? You're good.
I'm good.
I've got your back.
Oh, it's a coin flip now.
I hate this game.
Okay. Caedrel.
Yeah. I'm really bad at these stats questions, dude. I don't know stats.
I don't know how Ender's good at them. It's just random, like...
He pays attention in stats meetings. It's
Oh, no. Yeah, that's the lesson. Shout out to our boy Marcus. All right, we're
No,
going.
I'm kidding. I do pay attention. I do.
All right, we're going. Which bot lane had... Phil, you're going to have to tighten this up. I'm sorry in advance for the edit this is going to be because it's hard. Which bot lane had 0 2 versus 2 kills this season? Which bot lane had 0 2 versus 2 kills this season? Is it A, Vitality, B, Misfits, C, Schalke No Fear, or D, Astralis?
0 2v2 kills, the whole split. Oh my god, I have absolutely no idea. Honestly, I can't remember. Can you repeat? It was Schalke, Vitality.
Schalke, Vitality, Misfits, Astralis.
Okay, so it's probably Vitality or Astralis, I would say. Misfits, Schalke sounds a bit far-fetched. Kobe Vander probably have a little bit of scrap. We can't. Okay, Vitality.
That would be incorrect.
I'm so sorry.
Please pick a cup to drink from, Caedrel.
I hate my life. What do I go with, left or right?
I don't know, dude.
I don't know. Not again. Oh, Phil just clenched in its fish sauce.
Pain.
Oh, no, it's so good.
Suffering.
Oh, God.
God.
All right, Ender.
What are the 3 options?
What did you say? You said Vitality.
gonna
The
puke,
remaining
man.
options are Misfits, Schalke, and Astralis.
For 0 2v2 kills.
0 2v2 kills.
Misfits, Astralis,
Schalke.
Schalke.
It is Schalke. Good job, Ender. Ender's had 1 cup.
Wait, does this
delicious,
fish sauce
man.
have fish in it? I feel like I had fish in my mouth as well
Yeah,
with the
it's
sauce.
definitely
That
this
would-
would be where the name comes from.
It's
yes.
implied in the name.
Okay,
out
Phil,
of
if you
this.
have any extra normal cups that you can add in for Caedrel, just can you throw those in? He needs the mercy at this point. All right.
you only had 1 left.
Yeah. Caedrel, I'm going to ask you and Ender to close your eyes at some point so that Phil can mix up your cups. But for now, Ender, it is your question. Whippo is about to hit 500 kills in the LEC. How far away is he? Is it A5, B4, C7, or D3?
What is wrong with you?
This is more like it. This is more like it.
I was answering your questions. Get out of here.
This is more like it.
Okay, I'm gonna need those numbers
Just
again.
sipping on one
All
of
right.
his cups,
The
enjoying it.
options are 5, 4, 7, or 3.
It doesn't change anything. Just flip it.
It's not 7.
Oh my god, it's disgusting. There's fish in the cup, by the way, in the sauce.
3.
It's 3. pick a cup for Caedrel. I swear to you that Ender had no idea about any of these questions in advance. I found these questions. I made up the fake answers. The only answers that were given to me by our stats guy Marcus were the real answers.
We had to choose a cup for you. Oh no. Dude, I'm sorry.
Choose a cup.
This on this side, down the line. It's always down the line.
Okay, first. The first time I got it, the fish sauce was 1 in 4. Then it was 1 in 4 again. This could be 1 in 4 again. If it's 1 in 4 again, man,
Good
please no.
luck.
You have the
Okay.
look of a man resigned to his fate. You can keep that and drink that if you want.
It
Yeah.
helps.
Okay.
I
All right.
don't actually.
What do you mean it helps? You've had 1 cup.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I mean, I was
Come on,
thirsty,
easy question.
so-
Easy question. Who's the AD carry on? Fanny, come on. Yeah.
Reckless.
Which of these players
Oh, very cool. So we got
was
that wrong.
featured in the most post-game interviews? Is it A, Jezu, B, Zanzara, C, Yankos, or D, Gilius?
No.
Yeah. Do we count PGL?
No, excluding PGL. And start of day interviews, just post-game interviews.
See, this is a tricky one because Astralis didn't win many games, but in every single one of them, Zanzara probably got the interview alongside White Knight. Who are the other ones?
Jezu, Zanzara, Yankos, or
Jesu's
Gilius.
had a lot of them. Life, man. I honestly have no clue. Do you have any idea?
Maybe.
I'm gonna say Jesu.
That is correct.
Yes!
Along with Trimby, Reckless, and Elyoya, Jezu is tied for number 1 at 3 interviews.
Yes, I'm saved for one
Please
round.
pick a cup for
One
Ender to
round,
drink
I'm
from.
safe. I'm safe for one round. Okay. Oh, Ender. Now, do I spite you because there was one cup you were fearing? Okay, I won't do it to you. I'll do far right.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
What? No, don't just drink the cup.
Oh, thank God.
We have to get Ender. He has to drink fish soul once. Okay.
All right.
Oh, that was terrifying.
Here's a question that's almost perfectly designed for Ender. In spring 2021,
Surprise.
excluding week 8, what was the most popular emote used in the LEC Twitch chat? Is it A, Morphin Time, aka spam the static to help Fnatic, B, Brain Slug, spam this goo to help G2, for context, otherwise you probably won't know these emotes, C, the heart, purple Twitch heart, or D, lol?
Wait, but LOL is too obvious. No, it's
Is
not.
KEKW enabled in the
No,
LEC chat?
KEKW is enabled. Yeah, you're right.
But
It's
I don't.
not-
It's so for the record. I was surprised that KEKW wasn't on this list. I don't think it includes better Twitch TV emotes. I think it was
Well, that's
exclusively Twitch
obviously rigged because it should be weird.
TV. I mean, I gave you the 4 potential options.
Okay.
I thought backstabbed or betrayed would be on here somewhere. To be honest.
Okay. Wait. So excluding week 8, because I know in week 8 there was a lot of spam the static to help Fnatic miss playoffs. Oh no. Okay, so Fnatic, G2, LOL, and Heart.
Pretty much, yeah.
There are a lot of hearts. Oh God. It has to be a Fnatic or G2, I think. I think it has to be. But then at the end of the day, there's so many hearts. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay,
I'm
go.
so sorry. I'm
You
so
gotta go,
sorry. Excluding week 8?
Don't overthink the excluding.
Fnatic.
You're correct. The correct emote is Morphin Time. Spam the static to help Fnatic. I'm
You
sparing
thought I would
you.
get the Twitch chat
This
question
is
wrong.
okay. For the record, this is me sparing you. This is from the first question. This is me sparing you. You don't have to guess
Oh.
again. But bam. Oh wait, no, it's not me sparing you because you just got it right first guess. Never mind. Yeah, but you get a
Sorry,
point up.
that one down the line.
Sorry, what?
That was so cruel.
Yeah, that was my bad.
Oh
You're
my
not spared
God.
here. That's not the context where that applies. Please
Down the line.
down the line.
So I have to drink.
You have to drink.
That is so cruel.
All right, we got 2 more
Oh,
questions.
this bin smells disgusting, man.
Wait,
What is
what-
this?
Hey, do you want a fresh
This
bin?
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get it.
There's no way I have 3 of them, right? And he
Yeah.
has none. This is fine. I knew it. We're good.
Caedrel. Of the 4 champions I'm about to list to you, which one did G2 pick the most this season? Now, a little context to lighten this up. G2's most picked champion is Jhin at 8. This champion that I will list for you is technically their second most picked champion.
Okay.
So, your options are Senna, Gragas, Nidalee, and Rel.
Gragas.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes! I looked at this stat this morning. Thank God.
Which cup would you like, Ender?
Middle.
Middle of what's left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. Okay, Joel. God. I can do it. No, sir. No, sir. No.
Oh,
It
winning
tastes
feels
like
so
what
good.
cat food smells like.
Yeah, it tastes disgusting.
All right,
That
all
is
right,
just-
all right. One more question.
No.
This is for you, Ender.
Oh,
No.
Ender, please, no. I'm 50-50.
Wait, which one? Oh, I don't
Just
even
get
know.
rid of all the cups, Ender. Just get rid of all the cups. You couldn't get spared.
Oh, I could get spared.
This is the final round. You get spared.
Oh.
All right, last question.
3 left.
You ready, Ender?
Yeah.
Which one of these players ended the season with 19 isolated deaths? Is it A, Bwipo, A, Bwipo, B, Broken Blade, C, Carzzy, or D, Humanoid? 19 isolated deaths.
Actually, fun. I think before you think about this, I'll help you out a bit.
Okay.
There was a show match yesterday, and Carzzy played Thresh, and he got called out a lot.
How many times did he die?
I don't know.
Like 5, 4.
But I feel like you wouldn't die isolated very often outside of that, right? AD carries usually don't die isolated.
Wait, why am I helping you? If you get it wrong, I'm spared.
Yeah.
Okay, Bwipo and Humanoid are obviously the immediate ones that call out to me, but they're also probably, like, they're too easy. Humanoid, but on it would be a good meme if you just chose Humanoid anyways. Like, that is quite funny. You know what? D&D, Humanoid.
You are right.
Boom! I knew that. You know what? I knew.
And now you're gonna pick. Wait, is Caedrel? You're not spared in this instance because
Yeah, I know.
you got it wrong.
I
You
didn't get
picked your
spared.
last shot. For the record, this was a bait.
Rigged!
Because Bwipo is at 20, and my hope was that you would pick Bwipo so I could go, no, Bwipo has 20, and then make you try.
Oh, that is. You see, I knew they were both really high. Yeah. Okay. That's funny. Nice.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm
You're the
sorry.
worst
He's
quizmaster.
outsmarted me at every
You're
turn.
the worst
Cade,
quizmaster.
I can't believe I actually had to drink one. That was really messed up. Which one do you want to pick?
I don't really.
Let you pick.
Which one do you want to pick?
I don't want to pick.
Pick one.
Why? Because you're
one.
gonna pick the opposite.
Maybe. It's a risk you have to take. No, you have to pick first.
No, I'm not
That's
picking.
what I'm deciding.
No.
No, you really do.
No.
You really do.
I don't want to pick.
We gotta wrap it up. You pick a cup. One of you pick a cup. I don't care who.
No. Left.
All right, drink the left one.
Okay. Oh my god.
Hey,
I got you.
This one is the fish sauce.
All right, this has been the fish sauce bet. If you like bets like this, if you want to see more of this, let us know.
No more of this.
We're going to go on to the next segment of the show, but thank you for sticking with us. If you are tuning in at any point during this for Podcast Land, the gross part of the show is now over. Regular discussion will resume. Spoiler, we record the bet last, so whatever suffering these guys endured.
We can just pretend.
They
You're like,
haven't-
that fish sauce, terrible.
We record it last the same reason we record the spicy bet last. We don't know what's going to happen or how bad it's going to be, and
I need a bucket.
we need
That's all.
we've paid these fine men for their time, so we need to make sure we get
the content.
maximum value.
The content.
First up on the list of things to talk about today, while 6 teams did make it to playoffs, 4 teams did not. So in Euphoria fashion, it's time for some eulogies, which means saying goodbye to our teams. Now, gentlemen, we can do this in a couple different ways. We can just talk a little bit about the teams, or if any of you feel strongly to offer a few words for the fallen comrades, you can take a moment, maybe a minute, 60 seconds.
Like a moment of silence.
Yeah, a moment of silence. So I'll tell you what, let's do it. I'm just going to put you all on the spot. I'll go first so you guys have
like
an idea
it.
what to happen. I'll set a timer right now for 45 seconds. Let's say I think 60 is too much. And I'll go for 45 seconds, and I'll let each of you go for 45 seconds on a team, and we can leave the last one. So I'll go. Who do I want to? Do you want Excel, Caedrel? That's my first question.
Okay, dude.
Do you want Excel? That's my first question. Because I'll take whatever.
Yeah, sure. I can
All
take
right,
Excel.
you got Excel. Ender, who do you have a preference on who you want?
Ooh, Misfits.
You want Misfits? I think I'll take Astralis then. All right.
No one wants Vitality. Yeah, checks out.
Yikes, bro! You speak ill about the dead. That's questionable. That's like a faux pas in like every
Bruh.
culture.
Bruh.
All right. Well, everyone else gets 45 seconds. Vitality got 3.
Wait,
from Ender.
who finished last place?
Vitality.
Dead
Okay.
last. Vitality.
Okay, dude.
All right, I'll go. We gotta tone it in. We gotta make it serious. Astralis, you were an absolute mess this season. There were mechanical mistakes, rotational mistakes, drafting mistakes. But what you lacked in team cohesion and consistency and overall level as a team, you made up for with singular explosive moments and insanely entertaining Zanzara interviews. The end of your season was a beautiful thing to watch. And while I'm sad that it was spite that ultimately motivated you to kick the living shit out of the teams around you, I'm happy that in your final moments you could show us something truly grand. Because while you went down in a blaze of glory. Goodbye, Astralis.
Dude, that was good. That was good.
Did not know it was going to be
Rest in
that
peace.
serious.
Rest
but,
in peace,
That was
Astralis.
super serious.
I mean, I just flamed them. Like I delivered it very seriously, but I just like
it sounded good. That's all that
yeah,
matters.
but like we'll talk real talk in a minute about each of the teams. But who wants to? We've already did Vitalities. It was 3 seconds long. Who
all
wants-
right, I can try this one.
Okay.
Misfits. We all hoped Misfits would win. XD. I'm a Misfits fan, and they're just so fun. People get trolled so often by VTO's bubbles, and well, Deficio's voice lines on broadcast are so cute, like when he sings about how good his team is. LOL. Misfits are super random, but also smarter than they look. Just like me. XD.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
You don't got a tissue?
Someone please transcribe that and copy paste that forever, because that is the best version of that I've ever heard. It was like a brilliant,
Touching.
really.
Really.
Adaptation of the
Thank
word.
you.
Thank you. Caedrel, last
Okay.
but not least,
Excel.
Excel, please.
Okay, I'll try my best. I've never done one of these before.
That's fine. That's fine.
Really?
You've lived a much.
For Excel?
Oh wow, wow.
Sorry. Shouldn't be making jokes at
we're the-
funerals.
we're the funeral, we're the
Not
funeral.
bad. Not good. Not good.
Silence. Excel. I guess you could say they didn't excel. Yeah, I thought I was the problem going into the 2 wins they had in the final week against the best teams. Turns out, still bottom 3. But the faith is still there. The faithful shall remain faithful. We go again next split. I'm sorry. It sucks. I know it sucks. It sucks. It sucked for me too. You can do it. I went through 2 years of this. 1 split won't be too painful. You got this.
Dan, you can just join the broadcast team next year and make playoffs every time. So easy peasy.
Wow. Andrew.
Sorry, I'm just kind of on a roll.
Honestly, you are on a roll. I respect that. Sleep deprived Ender is my favorite Ender. Caedrel, that was like genuinely felt heartfelt. I'll be honest, like he did a Zoe copy pasta. I just roasted Astralis. Love you guys. That felt really genuinely heartfelt. So thank you.
Because I think XL was the one team who stood a chance going into that last day.
Yeah.
They were the ones like going into the battle on the final day. They'd won 2 battles the previous day. The war was looking in their favor. The troops were out front. They just got slaughtered, man. The lights went out. Their troops couldn't see.
Yeah.
All hell was raining down. There was ultimates coming from the sky. Fire arrows
Patrick's
everywhere.
sitting there.
Patrick's
spinning
shooting
as
there with a
fast as
shield.
he can on his little Aphelios. The power better. The power better. The
Yeah.
power better.
And
All
then,
I'm saying is Saving Private Patrick would not have been a good movie.
No, they
Not
lost.
good.
It was a very short movie.
and then the Rohan never came. So it was sitting there in
Schalke
the
took no
darkness.
prisoners. Let's be clear here on the way that game unfolded.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so like seriously though, I think when we look back at all 4 of these teams, obviously it was kind of up and down. I think Astralis and Vitality were pretty much down the entire season, right? And while there were some redeeming games, these are 2 teams that are Astralis people expected to be at the bottom of the standings. I think they did really show last good week, but obviously it feels to me always really crap when you see a team like really show up in the final week when it's for nothing. And Vitality, while they technically started the week with dreams of a miracle run, that died very quickly in their first game. When we look at these teams, the immortal question anytime a team makes it out of playoffs is like how much needs to change. Now, traditionally, spring into summer, there's not usually a lot of roster changes, but sometimes there are swaps or adjustments. Which of these rosters do you think you have the most faith in to like continue moving forward as a 5-man, or as it was this season? Let's say.
Misfits.
I think I would go with Misfits personally.
Yeah, Misfits. I would say. I think it always comes down to how well the academy teams are performing as well. But I do think the Misfits' roster was pretty good. I just think they had a lot of unlucky games, and Viteo didn't really find his footing. Eventually, he did, and some of the like Hirit was performing really well throughout the whole split. Razork and Viteo really found their footing towards the end of the split, and Kobe and Vander at the start of the split were running it a little bit, and then they got better too. So I can see the progress from Misfits, so I wouldn't go for any swaps in that roster. The others, I could see arguments as to why, but Misfits, I wouldn't really.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think that when you look at it, Misfits, it felt like they figured out their formula towards the end of the season, and it was getting better and better. Excel is one that's really interesting to me because it's hard for me to say. Because on the one hand, they started the season pretty positively, but then when they started to fall, we kind of all saw it coming. It was the scaling over and over again. And then the last week that you show up, you beat Rogue, you beat G2, like that's a good sign. You immediately then lose to Schalke. So Excel are hard for me to get a read on. Is it like we double down, we believe we can show what we showed against G2 and Rogue every game next split, like let's keep this 5-man, let's keep pushing forward? Or is this a situation where it's like, even though this is a fresher roster, sorry, Caedrel, but the baggage of never making playoffs would, like, at least for me, if I was managing a team, make me more inclined to make more aggressive changes, I guess is how I would describe it. What's your take, Ender?
I mean, I think that when you look at this team's early game in particular, it was just so unbelievably horrible that something needs to change. Because I feel like this team can only find success when like we're in some sort of meta that is like slow and whatnot. And even then, I'm not convinced that like on paper their players would like beat out other teams if like they were forced to also play scaling or something like that. So I think that there's just so few options when you come into every mid game at a deficit and a severe deficit usually that I don't know. If you don't improve on that over the course of a season, yes, their last week was better, but like that's not enough for me to like have faith in them going into the summer season. If you can't improve on that over the course of the season, then I do believe there needs to be some form of change somewhere.
Yeah, and I think that there's no player on that roster who I can look at and say that guy's going to make a play or he's aggressive. Like I think every roster has the aggressive players, but XL, the only really aggressive players are their bot lane, I think. And I think there's either two ways that you crack open a game. You're either really aggressive and you find plays, or you flip it. And there's no one in XL that's either going to plan the plays or flip it, apart from the bot lane who can't really do it. They can look for 2v2 kills. They might get 2v2 killed back, so it's very volatile at times. But yeah, I think they were really a bit AFK in the early game. Yes, their scaling was good, but is that something going into summer that's going to help you when teams get better? Is scaling really going to be something you can fall back on when teams have had half a year to practice?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of because we did see 1 or 2 games of experimentation from Excel, and this was kind of the nail in the coffin where I think part of the reason why we ultimately put them in D tier back when we rated them in the middle of the season was the game where they did pick Kalista, Syndra, where they tried to play very aggressive in the early game and it just immediately collapsed. It just feels like they haven't been able to find that footing even when they have tried to play for more early game. And maybe that's something that can change. Maybe that's something that they can shift, but given that they did try it once or twice and it didn't work, I think in spring, I would rather see you experiment and bomb out, because now it's like when we come into summer, I have no tape that gives me a lot of faith in Excel, right? Because the scaling's good, but the longer the year goes on, the longer the other rosters have time to work together, the worse and worse the we outscale them thing is going to go. Because it is predictable. And like you said, Ender, what's just like when Mad Lions or Fnatic or G2 or Rogue just pick scaling, like, you're not going to match them. That's like like maybe you do. Obviously, Patrick had some phenomenal games this weekend. It did look great, but like on paper, that's not something that you bet on.
Yeah, I mean, we literally saw that with Schalke this weekend, right? And Schalke, not the best team in the league, I think that's fair to say. And they just draft hard scaling against Excel with a very strong identity of like, we're going to jump on Patrick and kill him every time. And well, the two things Excel are good at is late game and Patrick. And if you just do that,
very good at
there's
Patrick.
no shot that Excel have to win a game.
Yeah, sounds about right. Even last year, it was the same. I'm going to pick Set or Sejuani or Javan. And I'm going to protect Patrick with my life. I will sacrifice myself to any gods required to keep him alive. And that was the plan.
Yeah. I think last notes on Vitality and Astralis, the two teams that we've kind of hit on the least. When you're 9th and 10th, I feel like at this point, if Astralis wanted to make changes or keep the roster, like I don't really, as an org, I don't really want to give them the benefit of the doubt because of their colossal train wreck history. And I think the same is true for Vitality. So all I'll say is whatever changes they make, I hope that they work out for them. But my faith is not there for either team because they've lost. And in Vitality's case, they've doubled down, they've tripled down, they've quadrupled down on this roster. And finally, when they had a season where everyone was together and they got to play what they wanted to do, they still were very, very far down and did swap crown shot in halfway through. So the faith isn't there for me. I'm willing to be convinced next season, but until then, I'm not. I won't say that I'm holding out hope for either of those lineups.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's you're kind of right. I think you're definitely right in a way where it's like, I don't know. I look at Vitality's roster and it's so hard because when it comes to roster swaps in the middle of a split, you look at the later half of the split rather than the first half of the split, right? So you look at the more recent games rather than like, oh, he did super well in week 1, 2, 3, but week 8 he ran it down completely all 3 games, and now I don't think he's a good player anymore for summer. So like for example, I hate naming names like Milica. He had one bad game against Schalke, right? He got solo killed in a Rise versus Victor matchup. It happens. That's just a mistake. But I think you can look at that and be like, oh, well, that's a really big mistake. And it's the end of the split. And it's the most recent thing in people's minds. And like, oh, all of a sudden he's just bad. When it's not really the truth. You know, he had a couple good games. He was playing well throughout the whole split. Yes. He was playing more supportive style of Vitality. Yes, Vitality finished last place. But is that something that you want to just think of Milica as? And then use this to kind of be the connotation around Milica. He got solo killed in the last week of the split. Maybe we should look to swap him out. But I have to agree in the way that it's like you finished 9th and 10th. So someone has to take the bullet somewhere, because if you just run it back, it's only going to get worse if you go into summer split with the same roster. I think that going from summer to next spring, yes, there's an argument to keep a similar roster. But going from spring to summer and finishing last, there's never going to be an upwards trend with the same roster, I think.
I will say that both teams got better after they changed players.
For sure.
So like the one benefit of the doubt I can give to both those squads is that they did look better. I still think obviously more change needs to be done to like try to contest playoffs, because that's ultimately what like all our teams are going to be trying to do for summer is make playoffs. So some other things may need to change, not necessarily player adjustments. But yeah, both teams did improve, and I think it was a better look for them.
Yeah, and again, I think I'm glad that like we're not naming specific names, and I think it would be unfair too. And if you're wondering like, well, why aren't you calling out X player or Y player? Like, we don't see scrims. 90% of the games that are played in a week, we don't get to watch. Like, we watch 1 or 2 stage games, we see 1 or 2 moments. Maybe it's a sloppy death, maybe it's a sloppy performance from X player. Maybe it's crown shot over aggressive on a 1v1. Like, I'm not going to call.
Whoa, naming names.
Well, again, because this is like, these are the moments that people will remember, right? And that's not to call crown shot out. Like, that stuff happens. I respect the confidence to go for the play, even if it doesn't work out. But ultimately, teams are going to need to make adjustments. I can't say what those are. I don't get to see the behind the scenes, but we can all agree something needs to change. And for both these teams' sakes, I'll hope that whatever it is enough to make them a little bit more competitive with the middle and top of the table going in. That said, one team that did make it to playoffs in not quite miraculous, but still semi-miraculous fashion, getting 4th seed, I would say.
Top 4.
Definitely a miracle, is Schalke 04. Now back in week 6 or week 7, I visited the Schalke house and we took a look inside what that team environment's like, what their practice is like, and got a breakdown from the players and the staff themselves. So let's take a look. From streaks to slumps and even miracle runs, Schalke has experienced it all. So how does a team with such dramatic results stay focused on their collective goal? Well, that's why we're here today, to show you all the things you don't normally get to see, from the relationships to the environment and even the practice itself. All right, welcome to this EUphoria feature at the Schalke house, Neon and Broken Blade. Before we get into questions proper, how are you guys this morning? I know it's early. It's noon now, so I feel like we've officially hit gamer hours. But is this too early in the morning for you guys to be doing anything as intense as an interview?
For me, actually, me and Neon both, we wake up, I think, the earliest on the team. So it's kind of like we're always already playing at this time, yeah. which makes me feel good just to practice already, before scrims.
Yeah, Neon, you were jamming right before we came here. You were the first guy in the office grinding solo queue, streaming.
Yeah, to be honest, I was a little tilted because I'm a morning streamer right now.
Yeah.
So I've been streaming mornings, but now I couldn't because you guys came.
Well.
So I just had to deal with playing 1 game of solo queue.
Look, I appreciate your commitment. I'll come into your chat. I'll apologize. I'll be like, guys, I deprived you of a day of Neon. I'll gift a couple subs. We can make it good. There you go. We'll try to boost those viewership numbers. A normal scrim day for Schalke starts with the team meeting. This is where they can discuss their objectives and where to focus their efforts. The meeting leads into an hour of solo queue, which acts as a warm-up before their 5 scheduled games. In between each scrim, they sit down and review the game as a team. For someone who doesn't know, for someone who's not aware of how these things work in League of Legends or maybe in esports in general, can you explain the overall concept of scrims, what scrims are, what they do?
So scrims are our primary, I guess other than people playing on their own solo queue, scrims are our primary method of practice and improving as a team. Basically, we just play games against another team. Usually it's an LEC team scrimming another LEC team. The games are usually a lot more loose and fight heavy than a stage match. Usually people are a bit more willing to try different picks, try different strategies, and it's basically where everything you see in the official matches on the weekend are kind of formulated and practiced by the teams.
Let's say today, for example,
Yeah.
How granular are the goals you set? How broad are the goals you set for your team overall?
It depends. Sometimes it's we need to fix our Rift Herald play, so we're going to watch Rift Herald VODs for all week, and we're going to talk about every single Rift Herald and every single scrim until we fix it. That's something we did a couple weeks ago because we kept failing our Rift Herald setups. And then it actually got better, which I think is good and shows we're improving. But sometimes it's something really specific, like stop dying level 1 in the specific lane matchup in scrims, because it keeps happening, which obviously often isn't going to happen on stage, but it's a very specific thing where someone needs to work on that. So it kind of depends, I would say.
Yeah, and how so when is a day successful for you then as a coach? When do you decide a successful day? Is it we picked Rift Heralds, our Rift Heralds are getting a little bit better? Is that enough? How do you know when it's been a successful day of scrims for the team, for Schalke?
I think it's important the normal answer is say you shouldn't be results oriented, and even if you're losing, if you're improving, it's good. But it would be nice to not lose most of the games, because I feel like if you're just losing over and over and over again, it puts you in a rough spot because it's hard to figure out what to draft. It's hard to figure out what the actual issues are. So I say a successful day is where at least we're winning some of the games, first of all. It shows we're being competitive, gives people confidence. And then second of all, that we have some good discussion and improve on some of the things that we're actually working on. So if it's a Rift Herald thing, for example, like we made some good rotations for Rift and got it a few times, and I can mark it on the board. And
so not quite the old Daylor adage of lose is improve, but a little bit of winning and some positive steps in the direction of your bigger goals, and you feel like that's a solid day.
Exactly.
When it comes to like what you guys want to work on personally, how do you actually decide and figure out what you want to set your goals for as individuals? We'll start with you, BB.
Usually it comes to when my teammates criticize me in scrims, saying I do something not very good. I try to be open-minded. Obviously, sometimes I have strong opinions about some things, but most of the time I try to really listen to them and try to think about why they're saying things. But most of the time it's about champions that I have to learn. For example, there's new champions in the meta right now. People are playing a lot more Cyan. When they started playing Gnar a lot, I had to pick it up in solo queue, and just things like that. I really have to work on, because it's just really important to be like having those meta champs in your pocket, you know.
Yeah. How about for you, Neon? Is it the same thing where like people like, is it mostly criticism from your teammates that's coming in to like help define your personal goals?
Not really. Like for me, the personal goals, it's like me in a scrim environment, it's like mostly it's like a clown fiesta. So I just want to be really good at identifying which fights to not follow my teammates into, and like back up and I'm like, okay guys, I'm letting you die now. So this is like one thing that I want to get better at.
Yeah.
And it's like my goal. And the other one would be being able to tell or like make sure that teammates know what I need. Because for example, when I'm fed, like sometimes I'm just like assuming that my teammates will play around me how I want them to play around me.
Yeah.
But that's not entirely true. Like maybe we are not all on the same wavelength. So I kind of need to like be able to tell them what I want from them. So that's like also one of my goals. But yeah, basically this like just not getting sucked into a clown fiesta and just playing my own game for now.
Dang, it sounds like it can be difficult on some days based on everything that you guys have said. What progress do you actually see, like day to day, week to week, whether it's personal goals or big goals, and how much of that like comes from scrims? Like, what does progress look like to you? Is it like in week 1 we were bad at this, by week 3 we're really good at this? How much progress and change do you actually see day to day? Well, myself, I see quite some progress. Like LEC is like a level on its own, and like for example last year when I was here I didn't think I was so good like individually. I didn't really feel like I'm on that level yet, but this year I totally feel like I can compete with anyone, and it's just like the more you play against the best, like you will eventually like become one of the best. So for me, I think the more I play, the more I improve, and also as a team, but so does everyone else. So you need to make sure that the rate at which you improve on is like higher than the others. Yeah. Which maybe we have not done such a good job at so far. So as a team, let's say.
The time is now 12:30, and Schalke are getting ready to start their team meeting. This is where we get a glimpse firsthand at how Dylan and the players manage feedback and which areas they want to focus on that day.
A reoccurring issue that we have, and that is that we don't reset together. He takes the raid camp and he doesn't recall instantly, and for some reason Yugili is sitting here.
But I think that you are also not doing a mistake.
Me?
I think you should sync your base with your jungler's tempo. And if he wants to do the topside camps, you need to stay one more away for pressure.
Go back?
Not really.
No, you do.
No, I don't.
You do.
No, I don't.
You really do.
No, I don't.
Why not?
Because he's gonna march to the camps, he's gonna base, and we're gonna play it on the next wave that spawns.
I think it's just more important that like we're here for retake on bot.
He launches these 2 camps.
I mean, then we can't sync our bases.
I agree. Yeah, but okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be we base at the same time and it's completely synced. It just means you don't want to base 30 seconds apart of each other.
Yes, I agree.
That's the general idea, okay?
Actually, it's the guy who's on strong side is good if you like dictate the tempo of the map.
Yeah.
Because you're the strong side.
Yeah.
Because when you're basing on top, you're like talking about bot tower already. I think everybody's going to play accordingly to the play, and it turns into a 5-man play. So we can try this. Tomorrow, I'm assuming we're going to be red side, but I guess it could be either as they have side selection. Well, we had a problem in this game where we wanted to path top, right? And then we wanted, like, you guys need your jungler bot early levels, so we can have a focus on that today.
Yeah, I caught up. Also, I have TP advantage now.
The bot lane could both be there.
I'm running to you guys. Yes, I'm basing already.
Are you guys always so upfront and honest with each other? Like, hey, I really think you're weak in this area. I think you're bad in this area. How easy is it to have those conversations?
I mean, personally, for me, it's gotten a lot easier from the time I was in NA. A lot of people were actually holding back a lot of problems in the beginning, and I was like really, like I was fuming because if I'm bad and you think I'm bad, please tell me so I can at least work on it, you know. I think that communication is key in almost everything in life. And if I don't know that I'm doing something bad that I'm not aware of, I can give you an example. In 2019 spring, I think, my coach thought that I was bad at side laning and I wanted to play side laning champs, but he just didn't pick it for me, and I didn't know why I was like not allowed to pick it. But then like I couldn't even work on it, you know? And that's why I kind of learned how to like communicate with my teammates. And I don't want to offend anyone on my team by saying that I think they're doing something bad. It's just like, I want to get better, you know? And I want you to get better as my teammate. So obviously I'm going to tell you things that I think you could do better.
Yeah, Neon, do you think that the viewpoint is kind of shared by the entire Schalke team?
I think so too. Like whenever I had something to say, like there might have been like a couple of days where I like kept it inside of me. But when it like really came to it, it just like exploded. But then everyone was fine with it. Yeah. So as like being honest goes, I think we're doing a pretty good job.
What does it actually take to like maintain that honest environment? Because you talk about some of the days, is it hard to like, is it harder to open up and tell people that you think they're performing poorly, or is it harder to like hold back a little bit and make sure that it's actually good feedback and not just like flame?
Well, I think it really depends on the kinds of relationships that you have with your teammates. And I must say that like in this team, in this roster, in this lineup, I have a really good relationship with everyone. And I think everyone does have like a very good relationship with everyone. As in like, we're just friends, you know?
Yeah.
And like, we're all young guys who are just like fine being friends with each other. So if this is the case, then it's very easy. But say you have someone who you're not so close to and who maybe isn't like that great of a friend of yours and you just consider him like a colleague, then yeah, it is a bit harder to like bring criticism up to them.
Scrims are now well underway. Schalke have just finished their second game. The result? A win. However, in Scrims, a positive result doesn't necessarily mean the players are happy with their performance.
I think this was good, no? Our Herald played this game? It was actually like coordinated and good? Can we focus? Two things, no? Resets and retakes. It lets all these random times we get picked off on the map stop happening. Because all we need to do after we get tempo is just base, retake the other side, and then the game's just completely stabilized.
Why is no one giving about top lane here, other than me?
By the way, I literally said we need to be there on this wave.
Yes, like why is and off in the jungle?
I'm not off, I'm farming.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be, because we're on a timer. You can farm after we take the tower. But if he gets the tower, we're actually so f***ed on the map.
Like if you want to TP top and go mid, that's fine. But I think here, should run straight top and you should just run mid.
Yes.
I think that's the best play.
So talk to me a little bit about how the team mentality changes from the start of the day to the end of the day, what that looks like. Does practice, is it hard to maintain a good practice quality as the day goes on?
So teams actually used to, in Europe, scrim 6 games. It was, I think, modeled after the Korean practice schedule where they did 3 blocks and then 3 blocks with a break. Sometimes the break would actually be pretty long in between. The days would get quite long, and often you would find by the 6th game, teams would cancel pretty often, or the 6th game would just be not good quality, like a complete fiesta. So we've kind of gone down to a 5-game schedule in Europe. I think some other regions have implemented this as well, where you can play the game straight, get it while you're a bit more fresh. Obviously, it's a bit more fatiguing, but it also prepares you for a best-of-5 scenario, which I guess most teams should be thinking about, right? Because that's what playoffs are. By the end of the day, I would say things usually get a bit lower quality game-wise, but I think it depends. There's some days where people can keep their focus to 5 games and the quality is pretty good. But if one team is just like losing or winning every game, often by the last game it can get a bit loose, I would say.
So how much of this like attitude and this mentality changes when you're winning versus like losing on stage? Like how much harder is it to come into a week of scrims with a good mentality, with like maybe this growth focused mindset that you guys are talking about, when maybe the stage games are going better or going worse? Like what actually changes week to week?
Well, so I would say first off, when we had this 4-game winning streak, it might have like gotten into our heads a bit.
Yeah.
Or like it might have made people take scrims less seriously or try hard less, which I think can happen to many teams, you know, and which I think could have been the case for us, where you're like, okay, we're really good now. We don't really need to put in all this effort again. And like, to me, it was not the same, because in the back of my head, I knew that those four games we won this year at the start were like, we're kind of lucky with the drafts and with how the enemy teams have been playing. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't like put my guard down, but maybe we have put our guard down as a team and we came on a lose streak.
I know this is a difficult time period, and I'll be honest, I was kind of hoping you guys would be like popping off right before I came to do these interviews. I thought it might make everything a little bit smoother, but since you guys are in the midst of a bit of a difficult loss streak, what keeps you motivated like week to week? What is it that keeps you hungry? What is it keeps you believing in this practice system that you guys have invested so much into?
For me, it's the trust I have in my teammates and myself, because I think that I just played League of Legends for so long, and I know how good all my teammates are, and I know how good they can be as well, and I just see the potential in them, and that's what kind of keeps me going, you know. Also for myself, I just know that we can be a very good team. That is what kind of keeps me going.
Yeah, would you say it's the same for you?
Well, for me, it's a bit harder, I think, because like I used to be really thrilled to like play on stage. And it doesn't really feel like you're playing in LEC up until you go on the stage, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's a bit harder to stay motivated, but what keeps me going is the fact that I realize that I'm playing esports and that I can compete on such a high level, and it's kind of exciting when you think about it, right? Like all these years that Earth has existed for, and only like this past decade esports has been a thing. Like I am kind of lucky, am I not? Like, and all the other players, right? So it's just kind of a beautiful thing that I can compete here and play video games for a living.
Wow.
And I guess that kind of keeps me going.
That is the most wholesome thing anyone is like. Yours was so team spirited, BB, but that was just wholesome. Like that was so like appreciative. Like my life is very good. I get these great opportunities.
It had to come out at one point.
After 2 wins and 2 losses, Schalke's scrim day is concluded. Despite these losses, the spirits in the final meeting of the day remain high.
Yeah, okay. If the AD carry is mid and you guys want to fully swap and I'm top, end up top. So you push one wave mid, this wave, and then you go top. I base after this wave, and you push this wave and you go mid from here. If you need to base, you base, and I base in your bot.
It actually makes some sense, yeah. Jackson would have called us actually.
Yeah.
My bad.
You guys don't know this.
We are red side tomorrow. Bans are locked. I think bans will be. I don't know.
You're not afraid of?
They're not even prioing it. And honestly, so many of our champs are good against this week.
Okay, good luck, bot lane.
You know?
You guys got this.
And thank you guys for being okay with all the camera people here today. I hope they make some banger content. It's much appreciated. And that's a wrap for the day.
What is so special about Schalke? What's so special about this team? Like, why are you like so committed to making this team work? Is it a belief in the players? Is it a belief in the org? Like, what is it about Schalke that makes it special?
I'd say more than anything is I really believe in the talent of our players. I really believe that some of our players are so unbelievably talented that if we can make it work, we can really compete with the best teams. And I think we've shown that because we've won so many times against the best teams. So I think that's kind of what I think is special about our team. It's like kind of like the potential and the talent that we have. And then also I think our team environment is really good, and I really enjoy working here because of that. So I think those two things.
Schalke are willing to set aside ego and personal frustration in pursuit of their goals. Being good at League of Legends is no longer just a matter of mechanics or understanding of high-level play. It's about how you work in a team. Whether it's ambition, leadership, or just a seemingly endless font of confidence. What you see on stage can never capture the full story. Behind the results, good or bad, are a team of professionals giving everything they have to improve day by day.
Huge thank you to Schalke for allowing us into their team house. That was something that we wanted to do for a while. So starting to take a behind the scenes look, and it's hard to get a team to agree to open up their team environment and let in what is essentially press. Because I'm not gonna lie, they were very, very upfront. They were very honest with us, and that's that kind of honesty I think is always risky. Because if we had accidentally not blurred one screen or released, to be fair, this is from like week 6, so there's plenty of time, right? But if we had accidentally leaked some picks or there was anything else like that, you have to really offer yourself up to be vulnerable like that. So thank you, Schalke, for the opening of your home, the honesty from the players, and overall it was cool to see some insight into European scrim culture.
Drakos, the people have to know. Did you know Nocturne Karthus was coming on Sunday?
I won't lie to you.
Okay.
I knew.
You knew?
Whoa.
They said specifically that this draft is to destroy Young Buck. That Dylan hates Young Buck. That's the stuff we cut out. I'm kidding. I didn't see any of those picks, actually. I saw no spicy picks. I don't know if they deliberately avoided the spicy picks. Also, there's no beef between Young Buck and Dylan. I'm just making that up.
I was liking the drama, though. I was buying in. I was ready to make a Reddit post right now.
No more drama, please. No more drama.
You're done. You got to start ignoring your donos.
No more drama, please.
It's already clipped.
There you go. Thank you for taking that out.
No, but it's just interesting because I think that many people don't understand the behind the scenes things with scrims. Like, you either have really good days, you can have really bad days. Players are very, very critical of each other. Like, you did this wrong, you effed this up. Like, come on, don't do this again. And then you have to take it like with a grain of salt, take it seriously. And you can also use scrims for picking crazy things, like trying out random stuff. And that's probably what Schalke did all last week for the game against XL. Maybe didn't get to see some spicy picks, but spicy picks happen quite often. You would be surprised how many spicy picks happen.
What was the spiciest pick you've ever played in a scrim?
Me?
Yeah, you personally.
Jace jungle. It was so broken. I was convinced. I remember we were scrimming Fnatic preseason 2019, and Jace was really OP, and they picked Malphite into it or something, and then we flexed it jungle, and it was with Red Smite. Oh my god, Warrior Jace with Red Smite. I was one-shotting people.
I like it.
How is the clear? That sounds awful.
Yeah, I had to have a really big leash.
I was like, that clear sounds like utter garbage.
Yeah. But if you ask me what the craziest pick I played against, dude, just imagine the craziest pick you can think of. It's probably been played in scrims, yeah.
Teemo jungle.
Okay, maybe not so much Teemo jungle. Not so much Teemo jungle.
It has to be based somewhat in reality.
Yeah, like the zillion Scions in bot lane, the I don't know, anything mid Soraka tops and Lulu jungles, all this stuff has been played, but nothing really came out of the testing zone. It's all in the science laboratory, Everyone's with the little vials, mixing and matching, trying to find something that they go, oh, Eureka, I found it! But no one's found it yet.
Well, Schalke found Karthus Nocturne. Looks like a solid combo. I wish we were there for that moment, because then I wouldn't have to make up fake drama. I could actually could have been there for the secret strategy meetings. Probably wouldn't have been able to show it in the end, though, because they still all have made it now to playoffs. But bringing things back again before we look ahead to playoffs in the last few minutes of this show, next week's episode again will be where we go into every single playoffs matchup in great detail. We need to talk about the end of season awards, which are Rookie to Split, the All-Pro Team, and the MVP. And I want to start with Rookie. Let's talk about it. We had a lot of rookie names this season. There are a lot of interesting options up on the table. Who do you guys have as your Rookie of the Split? Who are you guys hyped on?
Right now, it's Elyoya. I think he's definitely stepped up. He's more than filled Shadow's shoes, I would say, especially looking at Spring Split specifically. Because if you look at last year, Shadow, and I think Mad Lion and Spring did finish third in playoffs. Can't remember where they finished in the actual regular season, but third place in Spring Split with two new additions in the top jungle. I think he's been playing fantastically in the early game especially. And I'm a big early game connoisseur, so
love it.
I completely agree. Elyoya is great, but he's my number 2 because you forgot about the one player that is by far our strongest rookie. And if you guys aren't aware, that is Treats, who is legitimately a rookie, and I think solo carried SK to a playoff spot.
But is he really a rookie, man?
Technically, yes.
Okay, all right. We're gonna have a discussion about this right now because this is important to me. Because on the one hand, I agree that Treats absolutely carried on SK. Do I agree that he is a rookie? No. Now, technically he is. He has been added to the list because according to our rules, or the LEC rules, it does make sense. However, for me, I cannot, in good faith, vote for this man as a rookie when he played 14 games on the TSM main lineup.
He played 8 games in the regular season. That's less than half, and that's all that matters. Postseason doesn't matter.
He's been to Worlds.
But here's the thing:
playoffs.
Bwipo didn't. The only thing that mattered for Bwipo, and Bwipo's the other example here. Bwipo was in the same situation. He wasn't eligible for rookie of the split because he went to Worlds.
Yeah, but that's because the rules were just randomly changed because of Bwipo's situation, and I don't even really remember that situation or what exactly happened in that.
Well, in this case, it's like if you've played games on the world stage, it takes away your eligibility for being rookie. It wasn't a random change. It's just like as this award has gone on, and this is no shame to the people who decide these categories, because ultimately it is hard to account for every possible variable that's going to happen. But the difference between the two situations is that Treats just didn't make it to Worlds. If Treats had played games on the world stage, he would have been ineligible for rookie of the split, which to me, it's like, do I think Treats is a young player? Do I think he's very successful? Yes. And spoiler, I have him in my MVP discussion. I think he did carry SK. I think he just absolutely deserves praise. But he has so much more Premier League experience than any of these other guys that it feels, while Treats, I understand, can feel like unlucky. You know what I mean? Like you played 14 games and now this caster doesn't want to give you an award. Like, yeah, that's how I feel. Other people are entitled to feel he is technically eligible, even if I disagree with the criteria. I think it sucks even more for a guy like EUphoria, who is my number one split, because like he has been a rookie. He has come up. He's crushed it. He did not have any of that extra additional prior experience in another region. He is the definition of a rookie in this context in the eyes of EU, right? And so I'm not faulting Treats. Treats wants to be on that list. Treats deserves to be on that list in his eyes. That's fine. But for me, I can't in good conscience vote for him because like it's taking it away from other players who have not had the same opportunities. And I know in traditional sports that isn't how it works, but to me, like my conscience, I'm not telling anyone else to vote this way. You are allowed to have your own opinions. I can't do that. I don't think that's fair to the other rookies.
Yep, I agree completely.
I was going to bring up the traditional sports example because like that's the precedent for being eligible for rookie of the split. In most sports, if you play less than 50% of the games, you're good to be a rookie in the next split or the next season, I guess they would call it. I mean, we call it seasons now too. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, ultimately, I'm voting within the criteria, so I would go Treats myself personally, but EUphoria would be number 2, and then I think there's a gap.
There's a big old gap. Like who else is on that list? Who else do you think is notable? I'm pretty sure I actually can't remember who I voted.
Trimby, I put third. I think in my vote.
I think Trimby's my third. I think
Trimby's good.
I think the gap's not too bad. I think it's Trimby, and then there's the decently big gap.
Trimby,
then it's like
the thing is consistency just wasn't there, and I think the thing for Trimby is that like if you look back at the start of his split, he was kind of running it a lot. He got progressively better. He was really good, but he's also in the same position that I think. A lot of like I think rookie supports and rookie 80 carries for the most part when they come in on like number 1, number 2, number 3 teams, it's going to be hard to really appreciate everything they do unless they are super, super flashy because you're on such a good team that your burden of responsibility, especially in a duo lane, unless both players are rookies, does feel significantly less, which is why I think EUphoria rises up above him despite the fact that they both had good seasons, despite the fact that Rogue finished above Matt, is because EUphoria, he's in the jungle. Which means he gets to play in isolation. You get to see his contributions in isolation outside of the fringe case where he's being micromanaged by another player on the team.
Yeah. I'm glad you made the clarification of like the flashiness because you look at like last year, for example, Karzi and Kaiser were like huge rookies that everyone was pretty much looking at. They're like super pop off in the bot lane. Like Jesu Treats would be the other example of like rookie bot laners that are like definitely like showing up and looking very, very strong. Trimby, role player on the team. It's hard to look like to stand out among all the rogue players. So I do not envy the position he's in, although he also does get second place. So that's pretty sweet too. And he's doing his job for his squad.
Yeah, I think when it comes to, and I can't say this, but I hope that when teams look at player applications, that like rookie of the split isn't the number 1 accolade on their mind. It's like he was rookie of the split, like, or he played with Rogue for 3 years or 2 years or however long Trim he's going to play, you know, and
You know what I will say about rookie of the split though? It's a better award than coach of the split.
We're not talking about coach of the split today. So coach of the split, if you guys don't know, has been changed to coaching staff of the split. It's a bit of a tenuous award because the issue is, unless you have the only team at this point this year, there are 2 teams that I could confidently say that I understand what their coaching staff does in entirety. And I can't.
Schalke's one of them.
Schalke's one of them because I went to their freaking house and I was there for a day of scrims, so I understand how their infrastructure works. The other one is G2 because I've been to their scrims the preseason. I understand how that team works, and that team's been around long enough that I've just watched their scrims over the years. Now, any other team, I can't say with any confidence how their coaching structure works. So the difficulty of this award, I think, and the reason that we won't go into it in super depth, and you guys can add anything that you want to add, is that we just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's not that I want to take away from coaching staffs. I think coaching staffs are really important, but I could just as easily give an award to someone who has done literally nothing all year as I could give it to someone who has worked and grinded. Like ultimately the work of the coaching staff, we only see represented through the results of the team on stage. And I think that is, while coaching staff do deserve recognition, I think that recognition that has such a high potential to be wrong or incorrect or invalid or inauthentic is not good for me.
Preach.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's so hard to determine a good coaching staff without actually seeing how they function, how they work, because I think different coaching staffs have different levels of impact on the team, whether like the head coach is more of in a sense, tells the team how to play the game, which I think is very rare. I think the most common one is the coach is more of like a middleman between the players, and he's opening discussions, asking questions. What do you think we should pick here? What's best there? What would you pick in this situation? And then the pro player gives their opinion. And then you have like the coaches who don't really do anything, which is actually also rare nowadays as well. Especially, I think older seasons it was actually common. Now it's a lot more rare that you get these coaches who don't really do anything. So it's really hard to pinpoint who to give the coaching split to. The only real information that we have is draft, I guess.
And even that is like influenced by players.
Yeah, even that's really influenced by pro players. And then you attributed like, well, this team's winning a lot. Yeah, that's also influenced a lot by the players, and maybe they're just meshing well together. Maybe the coach, the way the players play the game in the early stages can be dictated by the coach in a sense, but you can't really pinpoint whether the coach is actually teaching them how to play the game to the point where that's making them win, or if it's just they're individually meshing well together and they're just really good players. So, it's so hard to pinpoint coaching staff the split. I'm not a fan of that award.
Yeah, and I'll just say that I think that right now, like the general sense is what I do, and I think what some other people do is you just put 1, 2, 3 in the order for teams. I hope that there's a way in the future that we can give more recognition to coaching staff that isn't this award. I think the award obviously looks nice, it looks shiny, but again, I think that we should try to find other ways as a league, and I can't speak for the people who make these awards, right? I'm calling myself a league representative at this point just because I've cast the league, right? But I think that there is probably a good way out there to really represent what these coaching staffs do, because it is very significant. And I do think that they are, as behind the scenes pieces, unsung heroes of what a lot of teams will do. But until I can watch all 10 team scrims every single week forever and hear their post-team meetings, I will not have enough information to make an educated decision.
We make a mini LEC with the coaching staff's playing league. That's the way.
Bruh.
Caedrel's like, a league I can win.
Make playoffs at least.
I love you, but bro, I'm so sorry. In a year it'll get old. That's what you have to bear with it for a year. You get one more time when Excel finally do make playoffs. We're gonna roast you a little bit more, and then it's done. I promise.
Yeah, I just needed to make playoffs once, and then the joke dies. Excel finally make it. Caedrel was the problem. Yada yada yada. Next year.
Yeah.
Rip. And then I can just get in my rocking chair and just sit there and just rock back and forth and not give a single beep.
Yeah. So to close out this discussion, shout out to all the coaching staffs out there. I really hope that you guys are getting the recognition you deserve behind the scenes for your orgs. Shout out to the orgs who put their coaching staff forward and give them that praise. And otherwise, let's just move on. Let's talk a little bit about all-pro team. Now, we have to talk more than just number one team, because the number one team, the Immortal, it's G2 plus a player sometimes.
G2.
Okay, all right. What's your number one all-pro team? Caedrel, just present your all-pro team, and then we can go from there.
G2.
It's G2. There you go.
It's G2 and Odoamne.
You think it's G2 and Odoamne?
Look, I can't give up on him now. I can't. I'm all on the hype train, but I'm surprised we get an opinion on this.
I think Odoamne. Oh, it's so hard to talk about this without talking about it. I think Wonder was still. It's hard for me to take away Wonder as number one best performing. I think Odoamne was, in the context of his team, very important to Rogue's success, but Wonder played so much random crap and played it so well.
It's true.
He played so much random, and it's and don't get me wrong, he also had some rougher games, but it's hard to know how much to take away from him for that, because also G2 as a whole, it's such a flip as if you take a game serious or not.
When I think of Wonder, I think of 3 bad games throughout the whole split. I think the one Kled game against Schalke,
that was really bad.
That was rough.
That was bad. That was egregious.
The Camille game against Fnatic, where he E's and doesn't hit the wall and then dies.
That's true.
We can blame Ping. And then the Jace game where he's ahead in lane. I think it was against XL, and he gets ganked 3 times and dies, and then is all of a sudden useless. But I think that's attributed to
what about the Scion game?
Yeah, but that was just a Baus like impression. Come on.
Okay, like if we're talking 4 really rough games out of 18, that's
4.
a lot of games.
Okay, 4 really rough games. But then he had champions like, I mean, he showed his Quinn was insane, his Gragas was insane. He played things like Ivor and Irelia was popping off. I mean, he had a good split for sure. And I think the biggest good thing, the best thing about Wunder, I think, as a player is he's just so flexible. Like one day he can play Karma top, the next day he can play Ornn Gragas, the next day he can play Renekton. So yeah, he can do anything for you.
I think it's totally reasonable that one is contested. I think the only other one that I've seen contested and I think is reasonable to contest is jungle is Jankos versus Inspired. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on that. You're both much more qualified jungle experts than I am. Like, do you think that is a reasonable take to put Inspired above Jankos?
I will say, from my experience in scrims last year, Inspired was the best jungler in scrims 100%. No doubt about it. That guy was popping off. Can't win against him. I don't know what it was. Jankos was still hard. Selfmade was still hard, but Selfmade's kind of been really quiet this split. Jankos has had up and downs in a way, but I still think Jankos has been one of the most consistent players on G2, but Inspired is that pop-off player. He is that carry jungle, like, I can do anything. And then again, flexibility comes into question, because I think all the best teams in the world are really flexible. And when you look at Inspired, I'm not sure how he would do in a tank meta, although his Jarvan was pretty good. When it was like a Sejuani, Ivern, Zac meta, I'm not sure how Inspired would do. I'd have to wait and see, because I haven't really seen him in that meta just yet. Whereas Jankos would easily slot into a Sejuani meta. I mean, he would love it. So talking about this split in particular, I think that I attribute jungle more to jungle mid, and I think Jankos Caps has been a better jungle mid than Larsen Inspired, and you saw that in the game that they played against each other a couple of weeks ago. They were just way more on the same page. So I think jungle is more attributed to how they work with their lanes rather than the individual. If you're talking about the individual, I think Inspired's better. If you're talking about how they work with their lanes, I think Jankos is better. Yeah, and I think that's a bigger point.
Definitely. And I think like just in the pro game, like you have to look more at how they work together as a team, and you look at those types of duos. I would say that like Inspired and Jankos is very close at the moment. I think you could say that actually about quite a few different roles on Rogue. I think Larsen's absolutely stomping. Odoamne I already mentioned, very, very good too. And I would say that there are days where Inspired will outperform Jankos, but I would say like more than 50% of the time I would give it to Jankos. So I think it is quite close at the moment, but still Jankos favored on average.
Yeah, and that's interesting to hear. And I think that's kind of the struggle of these awards in general, is that League of Legends as a whole is such a team game, and really they're outside of actual solo kill moments. And even then, even in some solo kill moments, there's so many other variables that come into account. You know, how did he get in that position in the first place? Well, it's because the jungler did X or Y or Z, you know, and it's, despite that, it's really easy, I think, for people to get into the idea of just isolating this player is bad, this player is good, you know, yada, yada. So I think all pro is cool, but yeah, it's also difficult to have the more nuanced discussion. That said, the other 3 roles, I think it's really hard to take anything away from G2. Reckless, Mr. Consistent. Mickey, even though he did grief it a little bit, also hard carried games. And in the mid lane, Larsen, I think when you look, there are moments where I'm like, Larsen is the best. But again, this is the thing that I'll keep coming back to. Like, taking all pro number 1 mid away from Caps is such a big deal, and I think is nigh impossible, because if you ever get an opportunity to listen to G2 team comms, obviously mostly we clip out the fun stuff and the funny stuff. Caps relays every single summoner spell on the map. He tracks bone plating. This man, bone plating. That's a 45 bone plating. There is, I'm good at League of Legends, I type flash timers. There's, I'm really good at League of Legends, I track ultimates. And then there's, I am Caps, and I track goddamn bone plating in lane. This man is, outside of his individual skill, a huge asset in a way that so many people do not get to hear or see. But when you catch it, look for it in the little bits, because in between the humorous clips, you can see all of the information that Caps is relaying in the mic checks, in the G2 clip outs of their voice comms. The man is a unit.
Min-maxing.
Yeah, for sure. And if he gets absolutely blasted individually, I'll take that out of the picture, right? But if it's ever close, that to me is always the tiebreaker. This man does so much work.
Yeah, and I think the only argument I would make, actually, funny enough, in terms of AD carry, all pro, I would 100% give it to Reckless. I think a close contender actually is Upset. I think his team is 9-9, 50% win rate, but he has one of the best KDAs, the highest CS differential, the most 2v2 kills, and every single game that they lose, it feels like it's not really Upset's fault. Just Fnatic overextending, Upset sitting there like getting dove 5-man, or he's just only got 1 or 2 deaths, still pumping out the highest damage on his team. And then when they're winning the games, he's the one with 0 deaths, 1 death, and he's pumping out the highest damage on his team, mid lane supportive. I think Upset's been the best player on Fnatic for me this split for sure. I think he's the closest contender to the All-Pro AD carry.
I think it's actually crazy that Fnatic lost Reckless, and their bot lane looks still so insanely good, right? Like with all the 2v2 kills and whatnot happening, because like that bot lane is legitimately terrifying to face off against. And like the difference of 2v2 kills between them and the next closest bot lane is like 5, 6, 7. It's like a huge number. Like it's not even remotely close. And it is like sort of the Hylissang playstyle, but Upset has just definitely jumped right and he's all aboard. Like he's ready to flip
100%. And you even think about yesterday's game against Rogue. Not yesterday, Sunday's game against Rogue, so that was 2 days ago. Yog. Yog. It was Upset and Hylissang winning the lane. They were actually winning that lane really, really hard. But then Selfmade comes and misplays the dive, and then they misplay it again, and then all of a sudden bot lane lost, and then you see Upset getting 5-man dove. So I attribute a lot of success to Fnatic from their bot lane, especially. Yes, Purpose had his pop-off moments. Yes, Niski has been a really good supportive backbone, and yes, Selfmade's one of the best junglers, but yeah, I think a close contender for the best AD carry is Upset. But obviously, Reckless is definitely Mr. Consistent and has shown up with an amazing performance to split.
Yeah. Support, I think, would have been usually is the Mickey Hylissang race. Now, Kaiser was kind of the third horse in that race last season. I don't think it's as apparent this time around. Trimby, obviously, in his rookie split has had his moments, but hard to put him up there. Treats, all
Get
pro.
him in there.
You think 2 or 3?
Not number 1. He would be battling for 2 or 3. Ultimately, it's a fan vote, so I believe.
Yeah, also
Mickey
it's a fan vote
Hylissang
this
will
season.
Yeah, so I'm actually curious if anyone besides a G2 member makes first.
Who else is really popular? It's like
it's Odo Wunder, it's Inspired Yankos, it's Larson Caps, it's Rogue G2.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I don't think there's Treats.
I don't want to. Yeah, bottom
Treats,
line, if you don't, there's articles explaining this is update the votes. This is where the update for coaching staff versus just coach of the split comes in. This is where the update where some of these are public votes. I think it's cool that it's a public vote. I think always you take it with a grain of salt though, because it will be a 50-50 mix of people who are like really believe that this player is the best in the league and people who are just like, I really like this guy. I think this guy is good. And maybe they can't quantify it, but they're really big fans of X or Y for some reason. So we'll have to see if it's the popularity contest, how close it is to maybe a more traditional vote.
I mean, you won the best NA import, so
clearly
a popularity contest.
Was I in that? Because I went to NA and then I came back, so I was technically export.
You're like lost. Treats.
I was like exported then imported.
Yeah, but they put Niski on there.
Yeah, they had Treats,
By
Broken
the way,
Blade, Niski.
If you were on the LEC Discord and you voted for me for import, I know that's a totally made up BS award. I love it. I was like,
we
so
both won an award.
Yeah, we did. We came out.
Guys?
Boom. Oh.
Did you win the award, Ender?
Look, I won a lot last year when I wrote the segment. Then they stole my segment, made it a real vote, and now I'm losing. What is this nonsense?
Classic Americans trying to rig the vote.
Stop the
All right, we're just gonna move away from that. All right, really happy. Thank you, LEC Discord. If you guys haven't joined the LEC Discord, it's a pretty cool place. Check it out. But let's move ahead to the final category, which is the MVP vote. Now, before we talk in these last few minutes about who you think should be MVP, I think it's important to define, as long as MVP has been awarded, there have been 2 definitions of MVP, which is MVP is like the strongest overall player, the best, number 1. This one's usually pretty easy to see. And then there's the most significant team contribution. And this one is always a little bit muddier because it means that for top teams where everyone is pulling their weight equally and you've got 5 members that can carry, it's maybe harder to define that MVP. So what category do you guys prefer? I don't think there's one that the award category doesn't specifically say. It just says most valuable player. It doesn't define what that means. I
think finding a balance is good, right? So if you have one player that's carrying their team but they can't win, then obviously let's take Patrick, for example, from last year on XL. And he was by far one of the best AD carries in the region, even though we still finished 7th, right? So even though we even accepted as a team, like Patrick's the carry, we're going to give all the resources to Patrick. But it wasn't enough to bring them over the finish line, right? So the balance is there. Whereas if you look at other teams where, for example, if the player actually is single-handedly carrying their team in a way, Treats, let's take an example, and they do make playoffs and they are successful to the point where they've crossed that line into the top 6/top 5, then the balance is there. So I think that for me, to kick off the MVP voting, my MVP is Odo Amne. Now, Rogue did finish first in summer, yes. Rogue did go to Worlds, and they were one of the most successful teams in the regular season in Europe throughout the whole of last year. But I think that pushing them over the line to the point where they can compete in Worlds and they can compete in playoffs to the point where they can actually contest the top 2, I think that's where Odo Amne is the biggest factor. Yes, Rogue did take G2 to 5 games in the best of 5, but I think Odo Amne is going to be the factor that pushes Rogue to actually contest G2 in the best of 5. Perhaps not in Spring Split, more so in Summer Split, to the point where they can actually contest the title. I think that's the line that I'm crossing, I'm defining here. Yes, Rogue did win the split in summer, but I think that crossing the line with bringing Odoamne in actually pushed them to be a title contender, I think.
It was a gigantic pickup for them, and I've been pushing the Odo MVP vote the entire year, so I'm glad that other people are voting Odoamne, because I was worried I was going to get flamed for it for a second, because my vote is also for Odoamne. I think I just echo a lot of your sentiment on that one. Like the other like top contenders for me would be like a Reckless on G2, very similar idea coming into the team, and only looking to make them stronger. And then my wild card MVP would be a Treats in there. And I think he was so influential in the SK race to actually end up making it towards playoffs. He was legitimately, I think, probably overall, I would rate him as our third best support in the league performing wise in the spring split. But I think as far as like individual contribution goes to a team, he was like the Patrick on an Excel where if he was winning bot lanes with Jezu, and then he was also starting every fight, finding every pick, like just doing everything for this team.
Yeah, and Vedi looked into the stats about wins versus losses, and when they lose games, he has like 80% kill participation, which is already insane. For the record, very hard to do if your lanes are doing anything on their own. When they win games, he has 100% kill participation. He's literally everything to the freaking team.
Yeah,
checks out.
Yeah, and it's Trees is on my list too. I think I have Odoamne, I have Caps still. Again, value a lot of the in-game comms things from Caps more than anything else. I think the dude is just an immaculate player. But Reckless, I think, is also totally fair. And I have Treats number 3 too, because I think that Treats absolutely deserves that respect, because there are SK made playoffs because of Treats. Like, very rarely can we argue that a team made playoffs because of a single player, but like literally you just count the amount of highlight moments he had where he single-handedly turned a game around. You add those up. Keep in mind, SK at the end of the season were on a massive losing streak.
Yeah.
And while I'm concerned for them for playoffs, the reason that they are here is this man.
Yeah.
Any other player, and that probably does not happen.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that it's all relative to how you feel about the impact of the team. So, for example, with Treats, like you were saying, they were one win away from not being in playoffs. And Treats clutched out so many losing games for them. Yeah, the biggest one that stands out is Mad Lions, obviously. The games were pretty much lost to the point where it's like, okay, let's just try and hold on. He makes a play, they win the game. So they get an extra win on the board, and that actually pushes them to playoffs. So it's all relative. Like Reckless making G2 a better team, you could argue, or a different team to what they once were last year. Odoamne pushing Rogue to be a title contender, and Treats carrying his team to playoffs. So these are all 3 MVP candidates in different spectrums, but I think they all definitely deserve the credit. In Caps as well, especially for the amount of comms, the amount of power that he brings into mid lane, the amount of control that he has.
And let us know if you feel like we missed out on anyone. Obviously, there's a lot of people who deserve that recognition when it comes to MVP. Ultimately, only one player can win, but there are a lot of players who really surely stepped up this season. But now, gentlemen, looking forward, last little bit here, a teaser of what's to come. Again, next week's episode, all about playoffs, all about these matchups. But let's talk just really briefly. Split finished out, Schalke Miracle finishing in 4th, which means G2 instantly went, yeah, we'll take that one for round 1. So G2 and Schalke are first round in the winner's bracket, Rogue versus Mad, and we got Fnatic versus SK. Overall thoughts on playoffs? You can talk about a specific matchup or just generally how you're feeling. What do you guys? Go ahead.
I'll start with the storylines. You have El Clasico in the bot lane.
Oh my God, Fnatic versus... We can't call Fnatic versus SK El Clasico anymore, dude. It just doesn't.
Trevor would call it that, so if I'm casting it with him, we're going to have to.
El Clasico.
We have the first and second regular season finishers from last year's summer split. Rogue versus the Mad Lions. It doesn't get better than that. Ooh. Or wait, it does, because the even bigger rivalry, Schalke versus G2. Schalke, the G2 killers, face off in a best of 5.
Ender's hit all the narratives already.
Man, what do we even
but
say?
Now I'm turning my brain on, and every single match is a 3-0.
No. We have 2 weeks. You can't tell them that. Guys, they're going to be really... Yeah, you might be right. I think you might be right.
Maybe it is. I think Fnatic SK is close, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Because Fnatic's form recently...
actually, if you haven't seen the update, you can check. There's an article on .esports, I think, as well as a tweet from Fnatic about how some of the members in this final week had COVID or were struggling with COVID. I don't know all of the specific details. Maybe you can find them for yourselves. But hoping to see Fnatic recover.
Yeah, Fnatic and SK are 2 teams that have been struggling in a way to find the consistency. So it's 2 like volatile teams against each other. I agree. Fnatic's a bit of a stronger team right now for sure. And then you have, like Ender said, Rogue versus Mad, which is almost like the baby super teams that came in from last year, who both did super well last year, whereas one's gone ahead and one's fallen behind a bit. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But I think Mad Lions actually did really well into Rogue last time they faced against each other. So I don't know if that's Rogue just disrespecting or anything like that. But I think this will be an interesting game to watch. Because I think the only way they lost that game was Larsen's Shockwave, even though Mad Lions should have won that game. So that could be an interesting series. And G2 Schalke, the Titan Killers. So I agree with Ender. They could all be 3-0s. I think the closest two are definitely Rogue, Mad Lions, and Fnatic SK. I think G2 Schalke, the best of 5. And the most important thing to note actually is everyone's playing from the studio.
The studio, yeah.
From the stage.
Oh.
And I think the two biggest factors to that is, one, the pressure is higher, and 2, it's a small thing, but something I noticed as a pro player, white noise. If you're a rookie and you have never experienced white noise, this will throw you off in a best of 5. So any like Jesus out there or anyone like that who hasn't played on stage with white noise, just start screaming with white noise, because this in the background,
it's so loud too. So the nice thing is, I don't think it will be as loud because there's no audience, there's no casting in venue, because what it's mainly meant to do is block out like audience noise and like caster
so you
calls
can't go
specifically.
or whatever.
Fun fact, it's actually pink noise. It's a different type of frequency. I only know it because I'm a ref. Had to flex that one.
Flex
but
on them.
it's possible it won't be as extreme because we don't have like our
makes
caster
sense.
calls in the venue.
But
or game sounds.
a good thing to see is, how is Rogue going to perform on stage? How is Mad Lions going to perform on stage? We haven't seen them on stage for over a year, and when it was offline, they played better. That's just a fact. They played much better. Then when Rogue went to Worlds, they flopped a little bit. Mad Lions the same. So every time we've seen these teams on stage, they flopped a little bit. And when they're online, they've done so much better. So I want to see these two teams on stage. SK's rookies on stage, Fnatic and G2 not so much rookies on stage. So I think they're definitely favored.
So just to round it out, I think in general, if you guys are coming out of the regular season and you're a fan of any particular team and you're like, you're worried about how their best of 5 is going to go, remember, it's 2 weeks. We've seen teams' entire identities change in this 2 weeks of practice. I expect Fnatic to look like a different team. I expect XK to look like a different team. Schalke, G2 maybe not so much. Rogue maybe not so much. They seem to have it pretty well figured out. Mad as well maybe can mix things up a lot. Best of 5s are always a different beast. So even if you're hearing 3-0 right now, remember, a lot can change very quickly. We can expect so many different things that game 1 can come in, and all the prep that we've done can be made irrelevant in an instant when teams have shifted up their style completely. But that said, we'll just have to see what happens. This has been EUphoria Season 7, Episode 9. Thank you, Ender, as our special guest for joining us.
Back in jail.
I let Caedrel shout out his stream all the time. You want to shout out your stream real quick?
Twitch.tv/EnderCasts.
Come watch him play League of Legends or Valorant.
Mostly Valorant.
Valorant. Or
Love
Valheim.
Valorant.
There you go.
Or Valheim. We need to get back on that.
Yeah, it's
Valheim boys. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you're fiending,
I'm cringing. We have to do the fish sauce next. I know it's out of order, but
the fish sauce is coming next. He doesn't know it yet. You guys will have already seen it. One last thing, Caedrel's birthday is on Friday. There's a birthday stream. Check that out. Otherwise, we are off this week for the LEC. We will be back next week. 3 back-to-back best of 5s. Friday, you got Fnatic SK. Saturday, you got G2 Schalke. Sunday, you've got Rogue versus Mad. This playoffs is going to slap, so get ready for it. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week to break down those matchups.